Have you ever questioned why you still feel uneasy even after taking a shower? It might not be your imagination. Senior ladies are now being cautioned by doctors that some of the good toilet practices we have relied on for decades may actually make us smell worse as we age. Here's the disturbing reality. We frequently believe that these behaviors are beneficial, yet they actually subtly exacerbate the situation. I'm going to show you 8 typical restroom behaviors today that could be aging your soul rather than your fragrance. More significantly, I will outline mild, scientifically supported remedies that can help you feel more confident, at ease, and refreshed. However, I would love to hear from you before we begin. From where are you viewing this video? What time of day is it at the moment? Kindly post a remark below. I genuinely eagerly await your responses. Please click the subscribe button if you think this video is helpful. Otherwise, simply tap like. In any case, your assistance fosters the development of this community. You might be surprised at the first habit, so stay with me. Nearly of women over 60 continue to do it without understanding the hidden costs. How the body transforms. Past the age of 60, our bodies start to convey softer messages by the time we are 60, and we frequently don't notice them unless we stop to listen. The skin itself undergoes some of the earliest changes, becoming thinner, more delicate, and less able to retain the natural oils that used to protect and revitalize us. Additionally, the sweat glands no longer function exactly as they once did. Furthermore, the small variations in how our bodies interpret scent cannot be eliminated by even the purest shower. Hormones that once regulated body chemistry and moisture start to wane in the years after menopause, giving sweat and natural oils a somewhat altered scent. This indicates that the body is changing, adapting, and entering a new phase of life rather than being filthy or failing. Additionally, the removal of dead skin cells slows down, resulting in an invisible accumulation that might subtly alter our daily sense of freshness. Imagine a moment you know well. When a grandma folds her towel right out of the dryer, she discovers that the delicate cotton no longer retains its original scent. When a grandfather enters the house after caring for his garden and is taken aback by how much longer his clothing appear to hold the effort from the previous day. These don't indicate negligence. They serve as tiny reminders of the changes the body undergoes with aging. The crucial fact is that these fragrance variations are a biological reflection rather than a reflection of cleanliness. Understanding this enables us to react with empathy rather than annoyance and relieves the burden of guilt or humiliation. Comfort and confidence can be regained with no effort by making a few minor changes, such buying breathable clothing, using moisturizers without fragrance, or lightly exfoliating once a week. Therefore, be aware of this if you have ever been concerned about something feeling unusual. That being said, you are not helpless or alone. Your body can still feel new, stable, and distinctly your own with the correct care, and these changes are normal. Dignity is not diminished by aging. It merely asks us to pay closer attention and treat ourselves with the same compassion that we have long shown to others. The first habit is over-scrubbing sensitive regions with soap. Growing up, Margaret, a 72-year-old grandmother from Ohio, thought that being clean was a sign of self-discipline and dignity. She always kept feminine sprays, powder and lavender-scented washes that she purchased on sale at the neighborhood pharmacy on the bathroom shelf. Using them consistently, she believed that the more she scrubbed, the healthier and fresher she would feel. Even so, she started to notice something strange, a persistent dryness, an inexplicable itching sensation, and an odor that appeared to persist no matter how frequently she took a bath. According to doctors, most women are unaware of how prevalent this experience is. The thinnest and most sensitive skin on the body is found around intimate places. Without external assistance, the body's built-in defense mechanism naturally maintains a healthy pH level and balances beneficial microorganisms. However, excessive use of powerful soaps, aroma wipes, or sprays weakens the very barriers that make us comfortable. The skin becomes inflamed, more prone to infection, and ironically, odors may intensify instead of feeling fresher. These changes can be perplexing and even embarrassing for older women. Many people avoid social situations or blame themselves in private out of concern that someone would notice. In actuality, however, the body is not failing. It is requesting kinder treatment. Being overly clean is not an indication of cleanliness. It's just a misinterpretation of what the body actually requires at this point in its life. The answer is far easier than most ads make it seem. For everyday comfort, warm water is frequently sufficient. If a cleanser is required, it should be gentle, free of harsh chemicals like sulfates, and without any fragrance. It is enough to lightly wash the outside skin. Scrubbing deeply or using fragrant products is not necessary. Irritation is avoided, and long-term health is supported when the body is allowed to continue its normal routine. Think of Margaret now. She generally uses warm water and has a single bottle of unscented cleanser at the wash basin, which she uses sparingly. She no longer spends money on goods that make claims of purity or youth. Rather, she is relieved because she accepted her body's wisdom rather than because she is trying to hide something. Once more, the subdued message is potent. Sometimes the greatest self-loving thing we can do is to do less. A gentle regimen helps us regain our confidence, avoid needless discomfort, and remember that growing older is about making wiser, more compassionate decisions rather than losing control. Therefore, think about taking a break if you have been applying more products or cleaning harder. Your body might appreciate the freshness and relaxation that no scent could ever offer. Reusing bath towels is habit number 2. For many of us who grew up in the 1940s and 1950s, thrift was too frequently a virtue that was instilled in us at home and reinforced by need. It was more than simply a towel. It was meant to be used with care, folded neatly, and stretched over a few days before being washed. How dirty could it get, after all, if you only use it while you're clean? In a time when families were frugal and washing machines were less effective than they are now, that way of thinking made perfect sense. However, science provides us with information that habit has never disclosed. In a warm bathroom, a wet towel hanging there is more than just a piece of fabric awaiting the next shower. It turns into the ideal environment for mold, mildew, and bacteria to grow. Without complete drying, the soft fibers retain moisture, which allows those microscopic organisms to grow silently every hour. The next time you wrap that towel around your body, you might be putting invisible allergens right up against your clean skin in addition to drying it. The repercussions can become depressing over time. Even after a new shower, there's still a slight musty odor that makes you feel less clean than before. Some elderly people observe that their skin is becoming drier, itchier, or more prone to little irritated spots that defiantly won't go away. Others have the unsettling feeling that, despite the fact that every surface is immaculate, their home no longer smells nearly as inviting. Most of the time, the offender is hanging directly on the bathroom rack. The good news is that there is no difficulty in solving this problem. Even if a towel looks clean after 2 or 3 uses, it should be replaced. Instead of bunching them on a hook, hang them flat and wide across a bar so the fibers may air dry. Towels are properly dried and rejuvenated by the natural light and air when they are left outside for a few hours on sunny days. Additionally, a few minutes in the dryer might have the same effect when the weather is uncooperative. Consider the difference. You feel the embrace of new cotton against your skin after taking a warm shower, rather than the little mustiness of yesterday's towel. The bathroom's air has a more pleasant scent. The slight but persistent discomfort eventually goes away, as does the persistent itching on your arm. It has nothing to do with waste or excess. It's about allowing yourself to appreciate comfort and paying attention to what your body needs at this point in your life. Therefore, consider whether the towel has already fulfilled its job the next time you reach for it. If the response is in the affirmative, throw it in the laundry and get yourself a new one. These tiny routines uphold our dignity, safeguard our health, and serve as a reminder that taking care of ourselves is not a waste. It's smart. The third habit is not taking care of your feet. Dorothy dismissed the idea of taking care of her feet with a simple line for years. In any case, nobody is looking down there. She wore her blouses pressed, her hair curled, and a little rose water behind her ears. But she seldom ever thought about her feet. As long as she could walk pain-free, she figured they were okay, staying disguised in shoes and socks. She thought foot care was optional, much like many of her peers. A minor detail that is too simple to overlook. In actuality, however, our feet bear the weight of our entire body and spend the most of their lives in cramped, dark environments. Socks and shoes retain perspiration, and as skin ages, it sheds cells less effectively, resulting in accumulation that is ideal for germs and fungi. This disregard can eventually result in dry, cracked heels, itchy between the toes, bad smells, and infections that grow unnoticed until they become urgent. When our movement is already limited in our senior years, what seems like a small annoyance frequently turns into a daily source of difficulty. The impacts extend beyond the physical realm. When taking off their shoes at a doctor's office, or even while lounging with relatives at home, many elderly people experience silent embarrassment. They could shy away from yoga sessions, or even just sitting on the floor with their grandchildren out of concern that someone would see. That silent shame weighs heavily, and the longer feet are ignored, the heavier it gets. Fortunately, even little regular care has a big impact. And simple initial step is to thoroughly wash your feet in a daily shower with warm water and light soap. By gently drying between each toe, you may avoid the remaining moisture that encourages the growth of fungus. To maintain heels smooth, use a foot file or pumice stone once a week to gently remove dead skin. A small sprinkling of antifungal foot powder frequently keeps things fresh and dry for people who wear closed shoes. Rotating shoes and letting them air out is equally vital since it prevents odor from developing. Now imagine Dorothy. She prefers calm slumber to sleepless evenings spent itching at her toes. She puts on her trainers confidently before her morning stroll rather than worried about them smelling foul. Expensive goods or intricate procedures weren't the cause of the change. It resulted from reverence for the body part that transports her around. The lesson is straightforward but effective. Feet are not a last-minute concern. They are the cornerstone of self-reliance and self-respect. We safeguard our confidence as well as our health by treating them with the same consideration that we give to our hands or faces. Thus, keep this in mind the next time you get out of bed. Mile after mile, your story is being carried by your feet. If you take good care of them, they will carry you farther than you may imagine. The fourth habit is flushing the toilet. With a lavender air freshener on the shelf and folded towels on the rack, Marge always kept her bathroom immaculate without shutting the lid. A brief flush with the lid open seemed innocuous to her. A part of a daily occurrence she never gave any consideration to. However, scientists have named what occurs at that precise instant. We refer to it as a toilet plume. Tiny, undetectable droplets containing bacteria are propelled upward by the rushing water, sometimes up to 6 feet in the air. The drops don't disappear, they float silently until they touch down on various washroom surfaces. The soap dish on the counter, towels that are folded nicely, and toothbrushes that are waiting in their holders can all gather those tiny particles. Furthermore, even though the concept is uncomfortable, the effects may be genuine. Over time, tiny droplets can cause mild stomach problems, add to odors, or just make a place you've worked so hard to keep clean seem less fresh. The good news is that self-defense doesn't require costly devices or daily deep cleaning. The easiest and most efficient approach is to close the toilet lid before each flush. It significantly lessens the particle distribution in just 1 second. An additional degree of security can be added by keeping toothbrushes in a cupboard or covered with a little cap. Towels can be kept safer and fresher for longer by doing something as simple as keeping them across the room from the toilet. Imagine Marge once more. She now closes the lid without hesitation, no longer concerned about invisible germs getting onto her spotless bathroom. Her towels remain fresher in between washes, and the subtle smells that previously persisted have vanished. She feels more in control and at ease after breaking a small habit rather than working harder at cleaning. It's a gentle but crucial lesson. Despite their appearance, our bathroom's true health is influenced by how we utilize them. You safeguard your family, yourself, and your comfort level each time you enter that room by making this one change. Sleeping in the same way is habit number 5. Evelyn cherished her evening ritual, a favorite mystery book, a cup of chamomile tea, and the coziness of her well-worn pajamas. It felt rational, almost practical, especially on days when she stayed at home. "I didn't do much today. My pants still feels clean, so why bother changing it before bed?" she would often ask herself. However, the body's inherent cycles never really let it rest. Our skin releases oils even on the calmest days. Dead skin cells keep falling off, and our glands secrete a little perspiration. That mixture of moisture and particles gets trapped against thinner, more sensitive skin when pants is worn through the night without being changed. This setting makes it simple for odor, discomfort, and even bacterial or fungal infections to occur, especially in older women. The repercussions may be depressing, such as a persistent odor in the morning, a red spot that won't go away, or an itching that keeps you from falling asleep. These are just the body's way of telling you that it needs a little more attention, not an indication of bad hygiene. Many elderly people bear the silent annoyance of these symptoms, frequently too ashamed to bring them up, even with a close friend or physician. The answer is straightforward and freeing. Before going to bed, changing into clean cotton pants helps the skin breathe and lessens irritation. Cotton wicks away moisture rather than keeping it near the body by allowing air to circulate. A loose cotton nightgown or soft pajama bottoms are more comfortable for some ladies than wearing knickers at all. Deeper sleep and a more rested feeling in the morning are frequently the results of the freedom of airflow. Now picture Evelyn. Sometimes she doesn't wear any pants at all, but other times she wears breathable, clean pants. She also wakes up feeling lighter, more at ease, and more self-assured. Her decision to add just 1 minute to her evening ritual serves as a reminder that taking care of oneself is a wise decision rather than a luxury. This is a modest but important message. Even when you feel motionless, your body is working hard for you. You may avoid discomfort and restore your sense of control by honoring it with little considerate practices. A good night's sleep involves more than just mental relaxation. It's about allowing the body to heal itself on its own. The 6th habit is not remembering to use the restroom trash can. Joanne took great satisfaction in maintaining a pristine home. The mirror in her bathroom was streak-free. The floor had a subtle scent of lemon cleaner, and the wash basin was sparkling. She polished the chrome tap until it gleamed and changed the hand towels every other day. She could never quite pinpoint the slight sour smell that occasionally drifted into the room, though. She increased her cleaning efforts, lighted candles, and even threw open the window, but the odor persisted. Something minor that she had disregarded for years was the culprit. The small illuminated trash can in the bathroom, nestled away near the toilet, seemed innocent. It hardly ever appeared dirty and was never overflowing. Its contents, however, told a different tale. Even when wrapped, used tissues, cotton pads moistened with sanitary products and cleaner, and other items emitted organic material and trace levels of moisture. The warm, dark conditions inside the closed container allowed mold and germs to thrive silently. All of Joanne's attempts were undermined as the smell gradually permeated the room. Most of us are unaware of how frequent this issue is. Many senior citizens disregard the hidden sources of odor that subtly undermine the feeling of freshness in favor of outward cleanliness, such as cleaning counters, scouring tiles, and gleaming glass. The good news is that there are easy and efficient ways to deal with this problem. Even if it appears to be just half full, clearing the bathroom garbage every other day helps to avoid accumulation. To keep the bin fresh and eliminate bacteria, give it a quick clean once a week with a vinegar solution or a dusting of baking soda. A tiny liner bag with a light scent, such as citrus or lavender, adds a final touch that gives the space a fresh sense. Think about Joanne now. She cleans the trash can every Saturday morning, empties her trash more frequently, and even puts a cotton ball with an essential oil drop at the bottom. Her bathroom has a cleaner, lighter, and cozier scent. Most significantly, she feels in charge once again and is no more uneasy by that slight odor she used to ignore or ashamed when visitors drop by. The lesson is obvious. Sometimes the little things we take for granted have a greater impact on our lives than the huge tasks. We are reminded that cleaning is not about perfection when we take care of even the smallest things. It is about peace of mind, comfort, and dignity. The 7th habit is washing bathrobes too seldom. She loved her bathrobe, Linda. After each shower, it felt like a warm, comforting hug. For years, it seemed entirely fair to her to believe that I only wear it when I'm clean, so it must stay clean too. And she grew to love the robe as a constant companion in the mornings and evenings. Science informs us, however, that even recently cleansed bodies leave behind natural oils, moisture, and microscopic dead skin flakes. Those elements are absorbed like a sponge by a damp garment. Additionally, hanging it in a washroom with little ventilation creates the ideal environment for the growth of bacteria and mildew. As time passes, the cloth starts to retain a subtle musty smell that clings to the skin and subtly erodes the feeling of freshness that a shower is supposed to offer. The good news is that it doesn't take much work to keep your robe clean. To avoid accumulation and maintain its softness and safety for everyday use, it is sufficient to wash it once every 7 days. The robe will dry more thoroughly if it is hung on a large rack rather than a packed hook because air can circulate. Additionally, let it to spend an afternoon outside on bright days revives the clean, fresh aroma that many of us associate with laundry lines from our youth. Now picture Linda. She covers herself in fabric that feels clean and smells welcoming rather than slipping into a robe that still holds the wetness from yesterday. That minor adjustment improves her attitude, brightens her mornings, and gives her confidence that she is taking mindful care of her body. This subtle reminder is straightforward. Being warm is only one aspect of comfort. It's about understanding that everything that comes into contact with your skin promotes your well-being, self-respect, and tranquility. The 8th habit is not thoroughly washing your underarms after shaving. Barbara had always thought that the secret to staying fresh was to keep her underarms hairless. The smell ought to disappear if the hair does. Or so she believed. She complied with this pattern without question for the most of her adult life, shaved quickly and slapped on deodorant before leaving the house. She was unaware, however, that shaving does more than just cut hair. Additionally, every razor stroke removes dead skin cells and agitates any residue, including perspiration, expired deodorant, and the naturally occurring germs that reside on the skin's surface. All of that detritus remains in freshly opened pores if you don't rinse well, which is the ideal combination for irritation, congested skin, and lingering odor. The frustration can be particularly demoralizing for elderly women. You work hard, but the results are disappointing, and you wonder if age is the only factor at play. It's actually not aging at all. It is merely a habit that requires an additional step. It's an easy and mild remedy. Rinse well with warm water after shaving to remove residue and loose cells. Using a gentle, clean washcloth, gently wipe the region to promote a thorough cleansing without scraping. With a clean towel, pat dry. After that, let the skin a little time to settle and quiet its pores before putting on deodorant. Now imagine Barbara. She appreciates a persistent freshness that lasts through her afternoon errands and family visits, rather than having that obstinate odor return by midday. She no longer attributes a condition that had nothing to do with age to her age. It was about doing the work carefully. This is the silent reality. The greatest comfort can occasionally be restored with the slightest modifications. You can regain confidence in your everyday activities and remind yourself that becoming older does not mean losing control by treating your underarms with kindness and respect. It merely requests that we make more informed decisions. We have observed that every little habit, even something as basic as how frequently we rinse after shaving or wash a towel, influences how at ease and self-assured we feel every day. These are modest changes that preserve our dignity and make us feel comfortable in our own skin. Not ostentatious displays or costly rituals. This is the crucial fact. Your physique is in good condition. When given the proper care, it responds magnificently and is only changing. A soft touch, a clean towel, or a little patience can make the difference between discomfort and ease, between uncertainty and confidence. Imagine a calm morning. You hold a hot cup of coffee as you enter the porch. Softly, the sun rises over the garden. You inhale deeply and feel lighter as the air feels pure. Your entire day is impacted by these small decisions that you make in the privacy of your toilet. Please let me know by leaving a comment below if anything we discussed today brought you solace or recognition. I sincerely hope to hear from you soon. Additionally, if this message resonated with you, please share it with a friend, turn on the bell, and subscribe. Above all, keep this in mind. You're doing great, and you're not alone. Your strength does not diminish with age. It merely requests that you treat yourself with the same love and wisdom that you have shown others throughout your life.